Today we are going to talk about order of operations. And order of operations is pretty much a set of rules that mathematicians established in order to solve problems. And they just decided in which way all operations within a problem should be carried out. So if we have this problem here, and you can see there are a lot of operations there. There is additions, multiplications, subtraction, division, exponent here parentheses. What we have to do what's within parentheses first. So 6 divided by 2 has to be solved first. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So instead of 6 divided by 2, we have 3 now here. So this is the same expression as this one. It's just in a simplified form where 6 divided by 2 was being carried out. So when we write 3 there as a result of the division, everything that is in front was carried down. And you can see times 4 plus 3. Everything after times 5 minus 7 squared, and so on and so forth. Then when we look at this expression now, what do we have to solve first? We have to compute any exponents. And here we have 7 squared. So we have to compute that first, which would be 49. And you can see everything in front we copied exactly at its own space. So no moving positions of anything. And everything after we copied down. Now what do? We have to do all multiplication and division and in a specific order from left to right. So whatever comes first from left has to be done first. And here we have 4 times 3. We have times 5. We have here this division. So first we have 4 times 3. From left, we have to solve it first. That'll give us 12. We copy everything in front and we copy everything after. Now we have 12 times 5 that has to be solved, and then 6 divided by 3. And because they are not connected to each other, we actually can do them at the same time, because that way we can kind of save a little step there. We couldn't do these two at the same time because they are connected to each other. We had to do 4 times 3 first. So here 12 times 5 would give us 60. 6 divided by 3 would give us 2. And then we copied everything in front and here everything that was after. Now when all multiplications and divisions are taken care of, we have to do addition and subtraction again in order from left to right. So we have first addition, 3 plus 60, which will give us 63. We copy everything after. Now we have first in this expression is subtraction. We have to do it first. That's 14, copy plus 2. And then we finally add 14 and 2, and we have 16. So now we are done. So this problem that was starting as very long, here simplified to 16. So now let's recap. Order of operations. First we have to do grouping symbols, parentheses and brackets. Then we have to solve all exponents. Then we do multiplication and division, has to be from left to right. And then addition and subtraction, again, what comes first from left. Now let's try some problems. Before we do that, we have to look at these two. What happens if we have here negative 3 squared, and here we have negative 3 in parentheses squared? So how is that different? And is it different? Let's look at the first one. Negative 3 squared. We have actually square in this case applying only to 3. So in this case we have a negative, and then 3 squared, which is 3 times 3, which would give us 9, and then we have negative in front. So that's negative 9. In the second case, though, we have square applying to what's in parentheses, which means we have to square negative 3, which means negative 3 times negative 3, which would give us positive 9. And you see how very important it is to recognize what is being squared. Because in the first case, we have a negative answer, whereas in the second case, we have a positive answer. Now let's look at what happens when we have negative 2 to the third power and negative 2 in parentheses to the third power. So in the first case, again, we have negative, and then 2 is only to the third power. So 2 is only being multiplied by itself 3 times, where negative just stays in front. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, and then negative in front gives us negative 8. In this case, we have negative 2 being risen to the third power, which means negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Now, negative 2 times negative 2 would give us positive 4, but positive 4 times negative 2 would give us negative 8. Notice, in this case, it does not matter how it's written. In both cases, we end up with a negative 8. So here is pretty much what this is about. With any even exponent, not just second power, we would end up with negative answer if there are no parentheses around the number, the base, and we would end up with a positive answer if there were parentheses around the base and the negative sign. Whereas when we have odd exponents, it does not matter. We would always have a negative answer if the base has a negative in front. Now let's do some examples, and we have rules now written down at the bottom to help us. So we need to use order operations to solve, and we need to show all steps. And in this problem we have addition, and then we have 2 subtractions within the parentheses. Because by order operation we have to solve within grouping symbols, we have to solve parentheses, but there are 2 operations inside. Which one do we do first? Again, whichever one comes from left, because they're equal level operations. So we have to solve 1 minus 8, and 1 minus 8 is the same as 1 plus negative 8, adding the opposite, which would give us negative 7. So we have negative 7 instead of this part. Copy everything after, copy everything in front. Now we still have one operation within parentheses to solve, which is subtraction. Negative 7 minus 3 would be the same as negative 7 plus negative 3, which would give us negative 10. And then we copy everything in front. Now, at this point here, I just want to point out one thing. Because we don't have any more operations within parentheses, I can actually drop these parentheses if I want to, or I can just keep them, it does not matter. 4 plus negative 10 will give us negative 6. Now let's try another problem. We have division here, addition, and we have minus, but that's within parentheses. We have to solve grouping symbol first. Negative 1 minus 10 is the same as negative 1 plus negative 10, which would give us negative 11, and then we copied everything in front. Now we have a division and addition. Which one do we have to do first? We have to do the division because it's a higher level operation. We are not doing it first because it's on the left side. We are doing it first because it's a division. So 24 divided by negative 6 would give us negative 4, and we copy everything else. And now we have negative 4 plus negative 11, which will give us negative 15. Both numbers have the same sign, so add them up, keep the sign. The next problem, we have a lot going on. We have minus, we have another minus, and we have minus within parentheses, and then we have exponent second power. We also have brackets. So what do we solve first? We have to solve parentheses first. It's within brackets. So 10 minus 8, the same as 10 plus negative 8, will give us 2. So we have 2 being squared here. We have to solve exponent first. So that would give us 4. We copy everything else. We still have to solve within brackets. Notice we could not solve the brackets first because exponent was within. And because within we had minus and square, we had to square first. Now we have only minus. Within brackets we have to solve that. 7 minus 4 is the same as 7 plus negative 4, which will give us 3. And now we have negative 4 minus 3, which is the same as negative 4 plus negative 3, which gives us negative 7. And the last example, we have negative 42 divided by 6 plus 4, and that's all within parentheses and then squared and times 2. So we have to solve parentheses first. We have two operations inside, addition and division. Division is a higher level operation, has to be solved, not because it's on the left, but because it's a division. Negative 4 divided by 6 is negative 7. And then we copied everything else. We have to solve parentheses because exponent is outside. Negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3. Copy everything else. Don't forget that exponent. Now we have to evaluate the exponent first. Negative 3 in parentheses and then squared means negative 3 times negative 3, which gives us 9. So that would be 9 times 2. We solve that finally, and that's 18.